Welcome everyone to the battle between Aronian and Aronyak. Yes, it's Levon Aronian versus Aronyak Ghosh in the second round of the FIDE World Cup 2025 here in Goa. Look at that respectful handshake by Aronian, getting up from his chair. Truly a gentleman he is. Plays e4 now. Aronyak Ghosh, a young talented boy from India, from West Bengal. Bishop to e5, bishop comes to c4, and knight to f6. Levon is playing against Aronyak's idea of playing the Petrov defense. Pawn comes up to d3, and Aronyak is still an IM. He is definitely GM strength. Knight to f3, attacking the pawn on e5, and pawn to d5 played. So Levon takes, pawn takes pawn. Aronyak has to take back with the pawn here. He does so. C takes d5, taken, and now bishop comes back to b3. So very interesting opening choice by Levon, giving black the center and then wants to attack it. Bishop b4 check, provoking the move c3, and then coming back. So now bishop d6, so that the knight cannot use this square on c3. And Levon now castles. Levon still in his preparation here, and Aronyak also castles with black. We have bishop to g5, which is a very logical move. I'm putting pressure on the knight and putting pressure on the pawn on d5. Bishop e6 makes a lot of sense here, developing your bishop. And knight to d2. Well, one idea can be knight c6, the other can be knight bd7. I think knight bd7 makes more sense because it reinforces the knight here. Later you can kick the bishop. If he takes, you can take back with the knight. So rook e1, putting pressure here on e5. h6 played here by Aronyak. If you take on f6, I will take back with the queen with a nice position. So Levon plays bishop h4. Black goes queen to c7, further reinforcing the pawn on e5. Now if bishop f6, I have knight f6, c4, and this is where things start getting a bit messy, because now if you play the move d4, I have rook c1 with the idea of c5 coming in. So he goes bishop f5 here. Aronyak, he attacks the pawn on d3. Levon takes the pawn on d5 happily, and Aronyak chops off the pawn on d3. Bishop takes d3, rook c1, attacking the queen. And now queen b8. The knight is ready to jump into c4 to attack. Maybe the bishop on d6 could be the best move there. Yes, he plays it. Knight to c4. And I guess the best decision is to chop off that knight. Bishop takes c4, taken here by Aronyak. And Levon comes back. He also chops off the bishop. Rook takes c4. Pawn to e4, opening up this diagonal, attacking the knight. I guess Levon understands that losing the pawn on h2 is not a big deal for him, because he's going after the pawn on e4. So bishop h2, Aronyak is bold. He takes it. He takes the pawn on h2, and Levon goes king h1. Now, a very interesting moment in the game has arisen here. There's the bishop here. The pawn on e4 is a bit loose. He goes g5. He's going all out. He's saying, like, if you go bishop g3, I can take, and queen g3, and black is clearly better. So if Aronian wants something here, he needs to play g3. He finds it. Pawn to g3. And while Aronyak will win the bishop here, the problem remains that the black king is very weak. Knight e4 now. What a move. You could have taken, by the way, king h2. That was playable. But Levon says there's no time to waste now. I'm going after your king. King on g8. He takes at g3. He takes the pawn on g3. Levon takes back fg3, keeping it closed. The magician is on the board, it seems here. Levon, the artist. He takes on e4. And now rook c e4. So while white is right now a piece down and the g3 pawn is hanging, look at the king here, all alone. He goes knight f6, attacking the rook here. The best move, by the way, was queen d6, blocking the pawn. But knight f6, now there's rook g4 check. It's an insane move. Rook g4, knight g4, queen g4, king h8. And then just like in the game, white gives a check here, provokes f6, and then plays d6. But he plays d6 first, Levon, which is beautiful move in a way. But there is a small defense here, which is queen c8. And the reason why this wins is after king h2, holds, is because king h2, knight e4, rook e4, there is queen c5. But Aronyak does not find the move queen c8. He plays bishop takes g3. He takes the pawn on g3, and now Levon needs to find this very, very strong move, which is rook g4 check. Not at all easy, but he needs to. And he finds it. Rook g4 check. Levon is really in amazing form here. Knight takes g4, taken. Queen takes g4. Usually they say if you have 3 pieces in the attack, that should be decisive. King h8. And now if you play queen takes g3, rook g8, and black is in the game. It's a good position. But he goes queen d4 check. And that's the move. Now king h7 is met with bishop c2 and rook e7. So f6 makes a lot of sense. And can Levon find queen d2? He finds it. What a move, attacking here. You know that king h7 doesn't work because of rook e7. So rook f7, the only move, because you are right now a rook up. So you give back your rook so that the queen can come in and defend here. If you play queen f8, rook e7, that's why you play queen d2 and not queen e3, to let your rook come in. But he goes king g7 now. And this is game over, because now Levon finds this move queen d3, threatening a mating attack here. And if you take the bishop, I swoop in with my rook, or I even swoop in with my king, and Aronyak resigns there. What a game by Levon. 30 moves, absolutely killer chess by him. And just goes to show what a genius he is, and the depth at which he calculated in this game was absolutely insane. I want to take a moment and appreciate Levon's brilliance. When he played the move knight c4, he understood that his rook is going to be very strong. He allowed e4 and gave up the h2 pawn. And then when Aronyak went wild with g5, here I think a normal move would have been king h2 and then playing this position, which is still very complicated. However, Levon understands that this bishop is out of play. He takes on e4 and then he takes here. And at this point for Aronyak, after knight f6, he is in big trouble. Rook g4. Now we have seen the game, we know that this winning maneuver would have ended the game with queen d4, f6, and now this move, not queen d2 by the way, because queen d2 is met with king g7, rook here, and rook f7, because the bishop is still blocked. So you have to start with queen here, d6 move, which blocks the queen. And after bishop g3, we transpose to the game. Bishop g3, you have queen d2. But it's not at all easy. to understand that here black has nothing to do and white wins in all variations. So in the game, Levon starts with d6, but there was a small defense that Aronyak had, which was queen c8. Idea trying to come in here, king takes here, h2, knight e4, rook e4, and now this very important move, queen c5. And at this point after d7, you go rook d8, and somehow you are able to hold it, because rook g4, king h7, bishop check, f5, black is holding on here in this position. So it was important to find the move queen c8 and queen c5, this kind of activating in a very different way, also controlling the g4 square. But when he took on g3, it was all over. Now this entire variation just works like a charm. Queen d2, what a move. Rook f7 and just takes it. And I really like this variation where you go queen f8, attacking here and defending, but rook e7. And now there's just no move. Let's say I play bishop e5 just for the sake of argument. bg6 with rook h7 coming is just game over. You know, like rook h7, king g8 and queen d5 over. So beautiful game by Levon, and I hope you appreciate the beauty of his attack.
Very good, yeah.
Следующий гроссмейстер идет.
Go Friday, go Friday.
Виталь, следующий гроссмейстер. Рос. Подойдите, разойтись. Разойтись, там следующий Рос. Следующий Рос.
Thank you.
Levon, very exciting win today against Aronyak. This rook g4 at the end was, I think, nice. When did you think that his position started to fall apart?
Yeah, I thought that the e4 is very, very risky. I thought it's a very risky move. Yeah, and generally I thought that, you know, queen c7 felt like it's from a practical point it's going to be hard for him to play after that move. Yeah.
And a pretty quick win today. A good way to start the event.
Fantastic way to start, of course.
Have you been in Goa before? Is it your first time here? How is it?
This is my second time. Yeah, first time I was here in 2002,
Oh wow, long back.
World Junior.
Yes,
Yeah.
World Juniors, and now playing the World Cup.
Yes.
You're the only player in history to have won the World Cup 2 times. This time, how strong is the aim to maybe get the third title? Is that in the back of mind?
No, no. I'm just enjoying myself and not having any goals or such.
And how was your impression of your opponent today? He's a young IM, maybe not so many games also. And how was your prep for this round?
Yeah, I checked some of his games and I kind of more or less came up with a strategy to try to get him out of some theoretical lines and get him out in the open. So yeah, it kind of worked because the position became kind of sharp early on, very concrete and less structure. So yeah, I'm quite happy how the strategy worked.
That's wonderful to hear. Levon, best wishes for the upcoming rounds.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But turns out I didn't play correct. But it's very hard to understand. Yes.
And then queen d4, queen d2 again. When you found it almost, so
Yeah. No, it's queen d2 and b6, and he doesn't have a good move. This is very hard to understand.
you mean first rook g4, knight g4, queen g4, king h8,
Yes, queen d4,
queen d4,
f6,
f6,
and
and now
d6.
d6. Yes.
That's very hard to
It's
understand.
very tough.
Yeah.
Because in the game when you played d6, he had queen c8 to h3.
Yes.
But that was tough
No,
also.
but I saw that. But I thought like I take on h2 and this should be losing. It's very difficult to understand that black can actually hold it. And my pawn gets to b7, you know. And then he's chilling there. That is not easy for humans.
Yeah, it was in, I think, but you found some great g3, g5, g3, all of that. It was, I think, the best game of the day. I mean, we were looking at so many. There were some amazing.
This is the plan. Fun.
You have the energy to come to the fan zone there? I mean, there are a lot of people. So.
I opened the sign.
No, I mean, there's a commentary there. Or maybe it's better not. So
Yeah, I did a lot of stuff
better not.
already, like
Yeah.
interview and stuff. Just
It's
I'll
better
keep it
also
for
to
next
take
days,
rest.
yeah.
Sir, just a request, can we have a photo?
I'm sorry?
Can I have
Sure.
Thank you so much. It's really like a dream to meet America Grandmaster.
Thank you. Thank you.